Hi folks, hope you're doing well. This is a quick video about this pandemic and what the government in the UK are doing. Well, it seems again they're spreading fear. That's all they're trying to do, is spread fear so they can have another lockdown. All they ever seem to do is spread fear so they can have another lockdown. Are they getting paid for the amount of lockdowns they have? Is there some sort of bet that the politicians are having to see how many lockdowns they can enforce upon the British people before the people will say enough? Because at the moment, you seem to have people bending over backwards to say to the government, go and smack us again, go and smack us again, go and smack us again, go and smack us again. Just as someone on talk radio, a Scottish Liberal Democrat MP, who is challenging everything on Brexit. But on COVID, again, she's bending over backwards. Whatever the politicians say, oh, yeah, they must be right, they must be right, they must be right, they must be right. Then saying that they've got evidence that this new variant of COVID is 70% more likely that you can catch it, sort of thing. And no, there's no evidence of that at all. No evidence of that at all. Somebody suggested that might be the case. However, the expert in America has said the variant might actually be less deadly than the original version of COVID. And the government of the UK are boasting about the fact that they've now given 500,000 people with the vaccine. Right, so okay. If you keep on vaccinating people over the next week, why is there a need in any way, shape or form? I mean, continue vaccinating people over Christmas. If you've got someone who is vulnerable, I'm pretty sure they won't mind their Christmas day being bothered a tiny bit by getting the bloody vaccine. The people doing the vaccines, come on, you've got an important job to do, important work. You've got all these people clapping for you during the summer. So come on. There's a vaccine that needs to be given out so the whole country doesn't have to be on lockdown for another 3 weeks. Because surely, if you can vaccinate those who are vulnerable, make sure they have all been vaccinated, or at least you started the vaccinations on them, and they are going to be okay because they're vaccinated, you don't then need to lock down the country again. Because the amount of businesses that are going to go belly up as a result of this, the amount of people that are going to lose everything as a result. If they lose their businesses, they will probably lose their homes. It's all very well to say, oh, but the government's furloughing them. Yet that only lasts as long as the furlough lasts. As soon as the furlough stops, that person now has no business, has no money, because their business went up. What are they going to do now? Once furlough ends, what are these people going to do now? These people in a situation where their business is hemorrhaging. Hugely, they're not making the money that they should be making because the government are pissing around with lockdowns left, right and centre. I mean, goodness sake, they had a lockdown, then they put other areas into tier 3 after the lockdown. Liverpool, Manchester went into tier 3, even though the numbers weren't actually that bad. Scotland has gone into tier 4 because I think there were 17 people with this new variant in Scotland. In the whole of Scotland, 17 people with a new variant. So lock down the whole flipping country from Boxing Day onwards for 3 weeks. Really? You call that governing? Panic! That's what that is. Sorry, that's not governing. As soon as something happens and you've got some dodgy expert, and it is a dodgy expert, the expert who came out, well, one of them from the team who came out with this stuff about this new variant, and even they didn't say what the government was saying they said, because they come out and said they didn't say all that, was one of the people involved right at the start of COVID who basically persuaded everyone to have the original lockdown, and then he went against the lockdown himself. He's in this new organisation, or this organisation that's been going for years. He's with them, and he's come out with this stuff, and suddenly everyone believes him again, even though he lied before. His numbers were crazy before, absolutely blinking insane, and the government believed it. It was proved to be completely and utterly insane. Well, now they're coming out with something else, and the government said, "Oh, you must be telling the truth because it's scary." Remember what I said years ago? Problem, reaction, solution. You've got this situation that the government uses. Problem, reaction, solution. Problem being COVID. So you create enough fear that the public then demands you take steps. So you can now force the country to be on lockdown. Why? Why is it that the government wants the people perpetually on lockdown all the time? Because tier 3 is basically lockdown. Tier 4 that they're now bringing in, they think they're clever. These politicians actually think they're clever. They've invented tier 4 because they want you to think that this is something new. It's not, it's lockdown. But they just call it tier 4 now rather than lockdown. I mean, tier 3 is basically lockdown. So tier 4 is lockdown. So, yeah. The level of stupidity here. And the fact that the people of the country are willing to just roll over all the time. So it wouldn't surprise me in any way, shape or form if the politicians do have this little bet going on to see how many times they can do this before the people rise up and say no more. Because they keep on doing it. And they've provided, so far, no evidence at all. None. Part of the thing this time is that they're saying, the hospitals are getting full. Yeah, the hospitals get full every single winter. Every single winter. Oh, but they're COVID this time. Yeah, a lot of people went in without COVID, caught COVID in hospital. That's the reality. They catch COVID in hospital because they're going for something else. And as COVID is a predominant respiratory issue this winter, then it's going to be most likely the thing that people are in there for. But as winter happens every single year, you get a major influx of people going to a hospital for issues where they're struggling to breathe due to a virus. Normally just the flu or a bad version of that. Whereas this time around it's COVID. And are the hospitals pushed beyond the level that they normally would be at this time of the year? No, apparently not. No. All the evidence suggests that no, this is pretty much running as it normally would be. But the government is speaking as if it's the summertime. And the numbers are huge, so therefore we need to panic. And the people just saying, yes, of course, yes, government, you wouldn't lie to us, would you? But the people believe we've been lied to about Brexit, but they wouldn't lie to us about COVID. Don't accuse people of being a liar, but then say, they wouldn't lie to us about other things. Why not? You've already labelled them to be liars. Be consistent. If these people are liars, then of course they're capable of lying over this. Of course they're capable of that. But are they lying? No, I just think they're probably massively exaggerating things. I think they're probably in there, the politicians, scaring the heck out of each other. Because for them, it's a case that it's better that they do this than they do nothing. That's what they think, even though the reality is, it probably isn't, actually. Because you work it out, especially now. They've started vaccinating people. 500,000 people have been vaccinated so far. That's a decent number. More people are going to be vaccinated. If they continue the vaccinations, as I said, over Christmas, then they're going to get a great number, maybe another 100,000 over the next 3 days. Easy. They can easily do that. Over the whole of the UK, absolutely, yeah. Of course they can. That makes a difference. You keep on vaccinating people, you don't need to go on lockdown for another 3 weeks afterwards. But no, the reason why I think that they're wrong is because you take, for example, the businesses that are going to collapse. How is that going to affect the people? Yeah, let's say 10% of those people commit suicide because their life completely collapses after their businesses do. At the moment, is that possible? Yeah, because suicide is up. Especially when you keep locking down people feel isolated. Yeah, things that used to actually help people through bad times, like a hug, is gone. You can't hug anyone now. So those sort of things that people used to do as a way of saying hello to people. You see an old friend, you go and give them a massive hug. You can't do that now. Elbow touch. Elbow touch. Jesus Christ, the government's got us doing all this stupidity. But this way, this new variant is a new variant of the type where masks don't work anymore. 2-meter rule doesn't work anymore. Washing hands doesn't work anymore. If that's the case, then we should stop wearing masks, we should stop bothering about 2-meter rules, and we should stop washing our hands. You've got us doing all this crap, ain't you? You've got us still doing all that crap, which again is going to have a detrimental effect. If you're washing your hands continually all the time with this antibacterial stuff, then you're killing a lot of good bacteria that's on your skin, that's on your hands. Now that's going to have an impact eventually. Yeah, on human health. Of course it is. Then you've got the people who are cardiac patients, cancer patients, various other types of patients who desperately need treatment, otherwise they're going to die, who have ended up dying as a result, but they've gone into hospital because they're struggling, caught COVID, and they've been counted as a COVID case because, of course, the government wants to massage the figures to make it look as if there's loads more people dying of bloody COVID than what there is. So if the people catch COVID in hospital, they died of COVID, even though they went into hospital because they were dying of heart disease. And they couldn't be treated for that. So that's what they've been all died of. Their heart stopped. Nothing to do with COVID at all. They just happened to have COVID. So you put them down as a COVID death, not a cardiac death. They're sly little buggers. Really are. They know that they've got to present a picture that is terrible to keep putting the country on lockdown. They know that. So therefore they have to massage the figures to make it look like that. So they've ordered the NHS to any person who happens to have COVID or any trace of COVID in their system, even if they had COVID 2 months ago, but died of a heart disease now, it's a COVID death. So you can sell it to the people to say, all these people are dying of COVID. We've got to do something. When in reality, that just isn't the case. I say there are going to be consequences to this, massive consequences. We just come out of the situation, Jesus Christ, we just come out of the situation where the British public was starting to realise they cannot trust politicians because they told us to vote for whether we wanted to leave the European Union or not. The UK decided it wanted to leave. Then all the politicians said, we don't care what you said. We know we asked you, but we don't really care because we were planning on staying anyway. So whatever you decided, we're going to stay. So they lied to us. They're still lying to us now. This is, oh dear heart. I don't know. I don't know really what the answers are for this right now. I'd certainly say politicians need to stop. Oh, geez. Somebody who's already lied to you in the past comes up with his group with a model of how this new strain of COVID is going to be behaving. And even though they were completely full of crap before, and their model was massively exaggerated before, let's not only believe as if it's the word of God, what they're saying, but also let's exaggerate what they're saying as well in order to sell it to the British public. Stop doing that. The problem we face at the moment, as certainly England, Scotland, Wales, well, England, Ireland, Wales, you can have another election. You can't possibly vote Labour because the Labour Party are in a complete and utter mess. You can't vote for them, right? They're in an absolute mess. They're useless, to say the least. They've only just got rid of Corbyn. They still haven't got rid of him, really. You can't really... And they're full of people that lied to us about Brexit and tried to stop that, even though they said that they would carry out the will of the people. So that's them. Liberal Party, exactly the same as Labour, really. They got trounced at the last general election, so they're not really in the position to be useful. But then you're left with only the Tories, and the Tories are the ones that are lying to us about this. And potentially they lied to us about being serious about Brexit, because that's not been decided yet. So don't know what's going to happen there. It's problematic, to say the least. It is. It's one of those situations that is, it's going to have a massive impact on the lives of a lot of people, and it's going to damage people big time, this thing. Not just talking about the deaths, people that survive but their livelihoods don't survive. They've got mortgages to pay, these people. Very expensive mortgages. They're going to lose their homes. They'll lose their businesses and they'll lose their homes. They probably will lose their marriages as well. Will just explode. The government doesn't care. All the government cares about is covering its own back. Making sure that when these people come in with the worst case scenarios, which is basically what they're talking about, you react according to that rather than get something a bit more closer to reality. But you then sell that knowing it's probably untrue, that there's probably no form of reality there at all. And their thinking is, if we don't do this, we could have an extra what, 50,000 people die of COVID. Okay. How many people will die of lockdown and the consequences of that? How many people have died already because of the consequences of lockdown? They've handled things incredibly badly, to say the least, the politicians. Incredibly badly. Yeah, not showing that they have any wisdom at all. And you can't really have leaders of a country that have no wisdom. If they're led by fear, they've got to go. All of them have to go. So basically, all the people, pretty much, who are behind the decision making and coming out to the public and backing the government. Because to me, honesty is important. If you don't believe in what the government's doing, you should be able to stand up and say, look, I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure about the evidence. We haven't seen the evidence yet, not properly. So I'm not sure. But at the moment, this is what the government has decided to do, so we've got to do that. If you come out and say that, then you'd at least have some respect. But the fact that, these people are coming out sort of acting and pretending that everything is cool and everything is okay and everything is hunky dunky 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 dory. Not good. Not in any way, shape or form. Because you've got people that are definitely against the government, but they won't dare come out and say it. They're cowards. There's too many cowards, and the cowards, I'm sorry, you shouldn't be in politics either. You're a coward. How can you be relied upon to stand up and tell the truth when needed? This is a time when you should be doing that, and you're not doing it. You're a spreader of fear. The spreader of fear is not leadership. That's not what leadership should be about in a democracy. So what we got there, that's the certainty, is what we got. Difficult to know what to do. I mean, look, I'm not going to try and pretend that the politicians have got it easy, because I don't think they have. I don't think it's an easy situation for them, not in any way, shape or form. But the point about a leader is you're supposed to weigh up the evidence. You're supposed to weigh up the options available. You're supposed to go with something that's the most realistic and the best option available to you. They keep on acting as if there's only one option available. There isn't. There are tons of options available, but they're picking basically the worst case scenario seems to be what they're picking all the time. And when you hear them talk on something like talk radio, these politicians, I mean, most of the time I look at these people and think, how on earth did these people get elected? If I was in their constituency, I would be actively planning to get rid of them. Because they are an absolute nightmare, these people. They seem to be clueless. They seem to think that the public are as stupid as they are. Yeah, they've just believed this, possibly. That's what they're telling you. I mean, either that or they don't believe it, they're lying. But if they really do believe it, they believe it, they bought it, and they think you're going to just buy it as well. And the problem is, they're right, the public have just bought it. But as I say, we've had a situation for God knows how many years now. It's been going on for quite a while now. That in education, Education is designed to create repeaters, people that just repeat what they hear on the news and people that just repeat what the government is saying is true rather than actually question it. And so that's not helpful. At a time when we need people to question what the government are doing and to challenge them, people are just bending over backwards because they've been taught by an education system to just repeat it, not to question it, not to try and reason, but to just say, oh, they're saying that, but therefore we must just say that then. That's what we've been programmed to do. Ugh. Not good. But look at exams. Talking about that point, look at exams. The reason why you know that's true is because in exams, the person who gets the best result in exams are the people that can best repeat what they've been told in the past. Because most of the subjects that we're talking about, considering, reasoning, questioning, that sort of stuff, they've been taken out the curriculum now. They were taken out quite a while ago. And they were taken up because of the fact that those subjects encourage people to question. They don't want people to question. They want people to just repeat. That's why we've got a society the way we've got it right now. It's just people just repeat the same crap rather than actually using the brains that God gave them. You've got a brain, use it. It certainly is a case in the future they will be able to do brain transfers because there's so many brains that have never been used. They're brand spanking new. And so, of course, they can be transferred into another body because they've never been used at all. They've got no corruption in them whatsoever. Ugh. So there you go. You take care. God bless. I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.